And now we're gonna find out who Baba Vanga is and why. It's Maxell from Cabal. Do you ever manage to predict anything? I personally can't even predict if I have a pair of clean socks for tomorrow, but some turn out to be able to predict not only where my second sock is, which is a mystery in its own though, but all the world major events and their outcomes. This someone is Baba Vanga. Let's get to the bottom of it. Vanga was born in Bulgaria in 1911. The legend says at the age of 12 she was picked up by a tornado, thrown to a high distance and made blind, but in return she received a prophetic gift. If you watch any TV broadcast, other YouTubers or websites, in any case you will see the story about a hurricane. It's f***ing 100%. But what if I tell you that actually there was no hurricane, and this is confirmed by meteorological reports? It just can't be that the whole town is quiet and peaceful and it was right in the place where a little girl was playing that the living hell broke loose. But why would Vanga and her family lie about it? Probably because of shame, and I will explain why now. The fact remains, police archives tell us that on that day a 12-year-old girl was found raped in that town, and the rapist gouged out her eyes so that she couldn't identify them.
It's no coincidence.
Years passed and Vanga didn't predict anything, but then a war started. That war with Hitler. Everyone began to lose relatives, everyone panicked, and when you don't know what to do, psychics will help you. And don't know until they won't. Let me finish. People go to psychics only when they see no other way out. That's when it all started for Vanga. She said that something had descended on her, and she began to see everything. She's said to have helped to determine the location of missing people, animals, pointed out all sorts of swords, and predicted death. There was no internet then, but rumors spread with wild speed. You wanna know the date of your wedding? To Vanga, your cat went missing? To Vanga, a sore wiener? To the doctor. Vanga! Tell me, when will I find my love?
I know for sure that not this year.
Well, I kinda know that for sure too. Today's December 31st.
I see. Today's gonna be fireworks. Oi, I'ma go watch them.
There was a whole line of people to her, and she accepted everyone, until bigwigs in Bulgaria realized that Vanga could be a fine brand and registered her as a civil servant. The paper visit was a pretty penny, and over 1 million of people visited her in her lifetime. Wow. Are you the last in line? Okay, I'll be right after you. Baba Vanga Express, Baba Vanga Express. Hello, this is Baba Vanga Express. What can I get you? I will have one prediction for tomorrow and a weather forecast. And a weather forecast. You want to find love? Maybe the release date of a new game? Limited time offer, 2 for the price of 1. And where do you think all the money went? Of course to the city treasury. And a little bit to the Vanga Foundation. And this is the first case of an officially working psychic. But back to the predictions. You've definitely seen them. There are a lot of them. 5,000 years ahead. For instance, 9/11, that Kennedy would be killed, the Chernobyl station would explode. Yes, I remember she predicted it all. Now it's time to cool your asses. She predicted none of that. She did predict everything, you stupid. Check information first. If I see you on the street, I'll punch you in the face. Chill out, deranged. Moreover, everything you've seen on the internet, well, these predictions with dates, years, in short, that's also not true. Vanga never said exact dates. She never specified a date of death, for instance. Not only was not she who predicted this all on the internet, but that's still incorrect. For example, the beginning of World War III in 2010. Or I'm stupid and just didn't notice. And according to the testimonies of her relatives, she never predicted wars or the end of the world. Wow. On the other hand, it's not so obvious, and Vanga rarely predicted the future, only a little differently than expected. For example, there are several video recordings of her seeing the future.
Слушай, ты больной на голову, но это не болезнь. Ты просто напуган. Все пройдет. А ты еще раз навестишь меня в мае, уже здоровый. И принесешь мне дорогой подарок.
I quote Vanga's real predictions. The world will survive many cataclysms. New diseases will come to us soon. And you know, you really can't nitpick here. She's in fact right. Only it all reminds a little of Captain Obvious, because what she predicted simply cannot become true. I guess I'm a psychic too now. Add 1 to your age, that's how old you will be in a year. But still, even in this situation, she's still credited with predictions that didn't come true. For example, that Bulgaria would become the football world champion. Troops would be sent into Chile. Or that in 2016 Europe would be deserted. Am I left alone? And it's not a fact that she predicted it, of course. After all, it was written in some local newspapers. For example, Anatoly Stroyev, a journalist from one famous newspaper, came to her with another journalist, who asked for help from Vanga. Our granny told her that she would never get married and get pregnant. But a couple of months later, no, she didn't give birth, too fast. A couple of months later, she got married and then gave birth. I'm sorry, Vanga, I guess you're washed. There was also such a story. In the book Vanga, the Whole Truth, an incident was described, saying that actor Vyacheslav Tikhonov came to her and she immediately, right on the doorstep, told him that he was a jerk because he hadn't fulfilled the last wish of his best friend, Yuri Gagarin.
He told you to buy an alarm clock and put it on a table.
Then the actor allegedly felt very bad and left her as soon as possible. But after some time, the actor was asked to comment on that, and he said, "Are you out of your fucking mind? What alarm clock, idiots? I wasn't even familiar with Gagarin." It's not excluded that the author of the book dreamt up this story because they saw Vyacheslav and Yuri sitting next to each other and thought they were best friends, like sitting together. There were whole lines of important people to her, even from other countries, and they were all willing to tell her their whole lives just to get answers to their questions. Retired KGB Lieutenant Colonel Eugene Sergyenko noted that Vanga was often mistaken, but it was not customary to disclose it, because she had a reputation as a healer, although she didn't treat anyone. She was looking for all missing people, but couldn't help them in the simplest investigation. A reputation of the holiest grandmother in the world was needed, and all in order to get information about those who communicated with her. That's why the version is not ruled out that people who benefited from creating such a reputation helped her in predictions, leaked information about everyone to her. Because of that, she sometimes hit the mark with her predictions. Could you please tell me about my daughter? Do you copy? Over. His daughter wanted to do theater. At the casting she performed with perfection.
You've got problems with erection.
No. Performed with perfection.
Perfection.
And in confirmation of that, I can cite a story of the main Russian debunker of psychics, Yuri Gorny. He sent journalists to her to see if she would predict anything real, but just in case asked one of them to stick a band-aid down there, right there, as if everything was bad down there. But before the meeting, Vanga's bodyguards invited the guests to a bathhouse, like to have a drink, steam bathe, assess the situation. And guess what? At the meeting, Vanga said that one of them had problems down there, although there was no problem. Vanga passed away in 1996. She didn't want to have surgery, told the doctors that she would live for another 3 years. Even here she guessed wrong. And a couple of months later, she was gone. Well, what can I say? Undoubtedly, Baba Vanga made some predictions, but they're all vague and need to be filled in the blanks. Unquestionably, Bulgaria used this old lady and earned a lot of money. Tourism took off after all. But is it true that she was a diviner? Well, that's left for everyone to decide for themselves. And please, don't even think about believing all these Vanga's predictions. It's the same everywhere, fake predictions and lies. Screw you. So, where did I stop in the schedule of the ends of the world? I hope I managed to expose the truth. I want to believe people finally stop watching and reading complete heresy, which is on cable TV, other YouTubers and websites, and start to use their own head. But judging by the views they get, it's kinda hard to. Drop a like down there.
I totally forgot to say, in 2022, create a YouTube channel.